Live from Mac and Bob's in Salem, Virginia, it's Maroons Tuesday Night Live with your hosts Ron Myers and Bob Southern.
Good evening and welcome to our season-ending Tuesday Night Live show from Mac and Bob's here on Main Street in Salem, Virginia. I'm Ron Myers along with Bob Southern. Bob has started last August with field hockey and ended last Saturday with lacrosse. It's been one exciting season of Roanoke College men's and women's sports on the network and also on our WGMN 1240 ESPN dial.
Yeah, it's been a good 9 months. We've learned a lot of new sports, women's field hockey for one, and it's been a great 9 months. It really has.
All of this is made possible by our sponsor. Spend your money with these good people. That's the reason why we're able to do this show. Mac and Bob's, Bojangles, Chick-fil-A, Dairy Queen Fast Science, Krispy Kreme Donuts, Kroger Food and Drug, All Sports Cafe, Time Technologies, Stop In, Med Express, Papa John's Pizza, Pepsi, and Service Master. And Bobby, without them, like I said, none of this is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Do business with those people because they support Roanoke College. They support us, and we're very thankful for that.
Well, all season long, I want to thank their staff, the students who give up their time to be a part of the Maroon Webcast Network. You don't see or hear a lot of times, but they are the ones, Bobby, I say that the squeaky wheel always gets the grease, and we're definitely a squeaky wheel, and they've been holding us up all year.
Yeah, without those young people, Richmond Bramlett, Brad Moore, and the rest of the crew there, I'll tell you, this wouldn't be on the air, and we wouldn't be able to stream the sports on the internet, so kudos to them and our many thanks.
Along with my buddy Chicken Liver Stevens and Scotty Allison. They really do a tremendous job, the Lord of the Board. Stevens, he couldn't be here. He went home, but he'll be back next year with us. Just a few of the many people who have helped us, Bob. All of those guests also that came, gave up their time to make our show possible a success. And last but not least, the coaches and the parents who stopped by, not only, to say, hey, pat us on the back with kind words, and every now and then we got a great gift like some of those wingdings.
The wingdings, you call them. Those were a special treat, and for those folks to stop by and just tell us thank you, and you guys do a great job, means more than anything else, to be honest.
We really have enjoyed it. We've got a good lineup here today. We're going to talk with Bill Pilot. We're going to have track coach Finn Pincus. We're going to have Joey Dishaw, sophomore lacrosse player, and Harrison Tony, sophomore steeplechase runner, and the always popular Dave Sampson at the end of Maroon Warriors.
The always popular Dave Sampson.
When we come back, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to have the 2014 Senior Student Athletic Awards and the nominations right here on the Maroon Webcast Network.
When you find out about the DQ $5 lunch, all this food for only $5, you gotta tell people about it. Boom, I just dropped a $5 lunchagram on all my friends.
The $5 lunch, entree, fries, drink, plus a sundae. This is fan food, not fast food.
Roanoke College, timeless and true, smart and solid, practical and professional, making discoveries about yesterday, creating visions for tomorrow. Lifted by a winning college spirit. Forging lifetime friendships with professors who prepare you for a place at the head of an operating table or another bright future. Roanoke College. Classic for tomorrow.
Mac and Bob's opened for business in 1980. Over the years, we've grown from 10 stools to a full-service restaurant that seats 330 people. Now we invite you to come try our new breakfast menu, featuring sweet potato pancakes, eggs Benedict, omelets made to order, stuffed French toast, homemade sausage and gravy biscuits, and much more. Open for breakfast Monday through Saturday at 8 a.m., Sunday brunch 10 a.m. till 2. See you for breakfast at Mac and Bob's in Salem.
No, do it at the end. Do it at the end. That's fine.
And we're back here at Mac and Bob's, Tuesday Night Live, Main Street, right across from the campus of Roanoke College. Bobby, Friday, the 2014 Senior Student Athletes Awards went out. The first one we're going to talk about is the Paul Price Award, and maybe you can elaborate a little bit on who Paul Price was.
Well, Paul Price was a member of the famous Five Smart Boys who went to the NAIA National Tournament in 1938 and to the renowned National Invitational Tournament, NIT, in 1939, and at that time that was larger than the NCAA tournament. He was very active in the campus community as a distinguished member of the Monogram Club and was an exceptional student in the process.
Well, this year's Paul Price Award goes to A.J. Bernstein, cross-country track and field, 4-year letterman. He was a cross-country most valuable player, 2014 ODAC Indoor Scholar Athlete of the Year, named numerous times to all ODAC first team. Off the field, he was a member of the Kappa Alpha Order, president of the Senior SGA, the Biddle Scholarship recipient, also Honor Society, I believe Delta Mu Delta. Again, he kept a 4.0 grade point average every year that he's been there, and he's always been on the dean's list every semester. So quite an accomplishment, and just a real good young man in A.J. Bernstein.
Yeah, he really was, and that 4.0, I hung right there with him in my time.
If they'd have made you take math for 4 years, you would still be over there at Roanoke College. Now the other award, the Michael Murphy Award.
Yeah, Michael Murphy, in '92, was a 3-year letterman for the men's basketball team and was named team captain as a senior. 3 weeks before he graduated, Murphy died on the basketball court in a pickup game. In 1993, the athletic department named the award for the athlete who demonstrated perseverance and overcame adversity while achieving their academic and athletic goals at Roanoke College.
Well, one thing's for certain, this year's recipient, Ned Feldman, men's soccer player. If he's not a Maroon Warrior, I don't know of one. Before Ned started his freshman year at Roanoke College, Ned was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease called Steele's disease. During Ned's career, he not only battled this disease that the coaches did not know about, but he would suffer 2 ankle operations, a concussion, a set of stitches, while playing 61 games, twice named All-ODAC academic team for his classroom work. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it really is, and what an apt award to be named for perseverance, because that's what he had to overcome to accomplish that, and that is a tremendous accomplishment.
I think it's safe to say you play for the love of the game.
Absolutely.
Bobby, you have the Female and Male Senior Athlete of the Year awards.
I do, Ron. Let's see here. The Female Athlete of the Year was Paxton Gwynn. After scoring 476 points in her senior season, Gwynn graduated with a total of 1,349 points, which ranks 6th all-time at Roanoke College. She was named ODAC Player of the Week twice during the 2000-2014 season, as well as being named the ODAC Player of the Year. She was named First Team All-ODAC, First Team State D3 Hoops First Team All-South Region, and Richmond Times-Dispatch Division III First Team All-State also. So over her career, she ranks in the top 10 in 9 statistical categories, including field goals made, 5th with 520, three-pointers attempted, 7th with 350, and scoring average 13.0 points per game.
And Bob, the men's athlete of the year, Charlie Peace.
The male athlete of the year is Charlie Peace. In 4 years as a member of the Roanoke College men's lacrosse team, Peace tallied 634 career saves, which is among the top 5 in program history. He also ranks 2nd all-time in career wins with 41. As a junior, he was named USILA All-American, First Team All-State, which gained him recognition in 2014 as an Inside Lacrosse Division III preseason All-American. He helped lead the Maroons to the ODAC regular season title for the 20th time in program history, boasting a save percentage of over 60%. He was also named First Team All-ODAC for the 2nd straight year.
Once again, congratulations. A.J. Bernstein, Paul Price Award, Ned Feldman, the Michael Murphy Award, and Female and Male Athletes of the Year, Paxton Gwynn and Charlie Peace. Hey, when we come back here on Tuesday Night Live, Bob Souther's going to interview a post-game wrap-up with lacrosse coach Bill Pilot right here on the network.
Mac and Bob's opened for business in 1980. Over the years, we've grown from 10 stools to a full-service restaurant that seats 330 people. Now we invite you to come try our new breakfast menu, featuring sweet potato pancakes, eggs Benedict, omelets made to order, stuffed French toast, homemade sausage and gravy biscuits, and much more. Open for breakfast Monday through Saturday at 8 a.m., Sunday brunch 10 a.m. till 2. See you for breakfast at Mac and Bob's in Salem.
Lacrosse is the fastest growing sport in the United States. For the past 25 years, Coach Pilot, head lacrosse coach at traditional lacrosse power Roanoke College, has been providing fun, safe, and informative camps designed for all positions on the lacrosse field. Coach Pilot offers the biggest and best goalie camp in all of lacrosse. His goalie school is a camp designed for goalies only, and he limits enrollment to ensure quality instruction to every camper. These camps are held in Virginia, New York, Florida, Pennsylvania, and even California. Go to www.goalieschool.org to pick a site and sign up.
Be sure to catch Roanoke College sports on Valley Vision TV, Comcast Channel 7 in Roanoke, Salem, Botetourt, Lexington, and Blacksburg. Brought to you by Mac and Bob's, Main Street, Salem. For programming information or schedules, go to valleyvisiontv.com.
Good evening and welcome back to Tuesday Night Live, direct from Mac and Bob's in downtown Salem. I'm Bob Southard, and my guest tonight is the men's head coach for the Roanoke Maroons lacrosse team, Coach Bill Pilot. First and foremost, Coach, thanks for being on the show.
Sure, Bob. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. The first thing I'd like to say is congratulations on being named the ODAC Coach of the Year for the 11th time in men's lacrosse. Knowing you, however, I think you'd give that award back if the Maroons could have won in overtime on Saturday. Your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I would definitely give the award back to win the game, that's for sure. And it's great to win that award. You know, there's a lot of great coaches, so I feel really privileged and honored to win that. And it's great that those guys voted for me. And it was a great year. And the game we played on Saturday in the semifinals was a great game, you know, for the spectators to watch. And, you know, we got down early, and then we came back and we had the lead most of the game, and then we lost the lead at the end. And then it just went into overtime. I mean, actually, from the second quarter on, we never trailed till the final whistle,
right.
So that's hard to take. But Hampton City played a great game. I mean, they scored the most goals that they have scored all year in that game.
They picked a fine time to do it. Not if you're a Maroon fan, but
they did. Yeah. They did, and we gave up the most goals we'd given up all year in that game.
I was looking at some of the stats. I know in clear percentage it was 18 for 24, and you guys have been clearing the ball about 90% of the time. And for that game, it was only 75, and I think that hurt a little bit also.
Yeah, I think so. There's a couple things. You know, our shooting had been pretty good, and I thought our shooting kind of dipped a little bit, and the clearing was big. I mean, it's one of those things that it's been working great, and we don't do a lot of drills for it because it's been fine. You know, you do drills for the things you want to work on, and all of a sudden we had some problems there. And some were caused by their hustle, you know, and their intensity. They did a good job. And, you know, in sports, any sport that has a ball, it's funny bounces and things like that, and that's what happened. A couple bounces here and there. I mean, even the winning goal, we had the ball twice. We had the ball 2 times and knocked it right to them, and then that's the end of the game. So it was a good game. It, unfortunately, it just didn't go our way.
You know, it was a tough way for the 7 seniors on their team to end their careers, and especially it being graduation day as well. Was there any thought given by the ODAC conference to the Maroons playing the second game time-wise instead of the first?
Yeah, you know, we thought about that, and the year before we did play the second game because, you know, Randolph-Macon had a little further to travel, and also we looked at the graduation thing. But, you know, it's such an advantage to play the first game because you get more rest time for the next day. Of course, there is no next day if you don't take care of business on that day. But, yeah, we looked at it kind of both ways. We looked at the weather, and we saw it wasn't going to be a real hot day, so we thought maybe we could play that first game. And also the seniors, I kind of asked them what they wanted to do, and they said we'd like to play the first game because then they could graduate and a little downtime and then play the game and then maybe spend time with their families was kind of the thought.
Sure, that's nice that you asked the 7 seniors and they made that decision
yeah,
too. And
I asked them, yep.
Going in, Coach, did you think the Maroons had to win the ODAC tournament in order to get into the NCAA tournament?
I thought we did, but it turns out maybe we didn't. Looking at the way things worked out, you know, it's so hard to be in that at-large pool where it's so small, only 5 teams make it. So we always look at it, we just want to play the games and try to win every game and not really worry about that stuff. But as you look back, we might not have had to win the ODAC to get in the NCAA tournament because pretty much every favorite held serve.
Right.
Which is about the first time I've seen that since I've been coaching. Usually you get 2 or 3 upsets. There was only one. There's only one upset. So it would have been close either way. And it was still close even though we lost. We might have been the last team out.
Well, you know, for people who don't know, there's 215 teams that play D3 lacrosse. They only award 30 bids. 20 are automatic, 5 are awarded to independents. So basically you have 190 schools thereabouts open for 5 bids. And when I looked at the rankings of the 30 teams that got in, your strength of schedule is actually better than 12 of those teams that are in the tournament. So
amazing. Yeah, I didn't look at that. That's amazing. I did look at that. that we are 4-2 against teams in the field, I think.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I know we played some of those guys.
What are your thoughts about expanding the tournament? Think that should be done?
Yeah, put them all in. Get everybody. I mean, it's hard. It's a ratio thing, you know. And when you're left out, you'd always like to see more teams. And I think that they did a great job with their selections. You know, I knew it was close. Of course, I think we could have been in over some other teams, but there's other teams that didn't go that were really strong too. I mean, Franklin and Marshall was a great team.
Right.
I know they didn't get to go, so I think us and them might have been the last two kind of left out. But I think they'll expand it as the ratio grows. I think they're getting close to that. Somebody told me they were expanded next year already by a couple teams, but I'm not sure. I heard it was going to 32.
Right. Okay. Just thinking outside the box, my thoughts were just make it 60, have everybody play one more game, and then you still have the 30 teams that are left over, and you get 30 more teams that are should be in the tournament. But
a lot of good teams.
What do you think the underclassmen take away from that loss Saturday?
Well, you know, you learn a lot from when you're not successful, just as you do when you are successful. And, you know, I think the boys really scratched hard all year. I was really proud of the way they hung in there all year and scratched and clawed and played hard and overcame some adversity. And I think that they need to learn that the target's always on our back. Teams always give us their best game. I think they learned that regardless of how that game went. And then we need to also learn, we need two things that I think are big going into next year is we need to start the season strong and we need to finish strong. You know, we didn't do that. We didn't start strong, although we played some really strong teams, and we didn't finish strong because we didn't get to the championship game where we deserve to be and where our teams used to be. And so I think they'll take that from it. And it was just a good, intense game. And, you know, over the last 5 years, we've been on the positive side of so many of them. This is one of the first we've been on the negative side.
Right.
So that's hard to take. And it does happen in sports, as we know. And what I told the boys at the end is the mark of a true champion and true character is how you respond right now. You know, how you walk off the field and how you congratulate the other team. It's easy to smile and say good game when you win. It's a lot harder when you lost, and especially a close one-goal game.
Oh, absolutely. You know, you're a relatively young team. What do you think your team's biggest strengths and weaknesses will be going into next year?
Well, you know, the biggest weakness, of course, is losing Charlie Pease. You know, that's huge.
Sure.
He's All-American goalie. He'll be All-American again. And then Mike Packo on defense was strong.
Right.
And then the two senior long sticks, Lintner and Doobie. So that's really the only spot that we really have to work on to replace. Our attack returns 100%. Every player is back. And the midfield returns almost everybody. We lose 3 really good seniors. But so we're excited about the attack in midfield coming back. And even the defense, we were very deep on defense. Probably our deepest position, which is great. So we're excited about that. The challenge will be a goalie, but, you know, Coach Steve Mason helps me out, and he and I are going to get together and work with the new goalies. And we have some new guys coming in, plus we have some quality goalies on our team right now that can step up. So we're excited about that for sure.
Well, you mentioned the new team. As far as recruiting goes, what's on the horizon for the Maroons?
Oh, we got a couple good boys coming in. We're looking forward to some of these guys. I have three football stars coming in.
Wow.
Three guys really similar to Chad Fisher. Fast, tough, strong.
Right.
So I'm expecting a lot out of them, and they're all midfielders, so they can run. And then we've got some defense. We have 3 defensemen over 6'3" coming in that are big, strong boys. So we're excited about that too. And then a couple goalies that are going to be in the mix to push for some time.
Super. Sounds like you're having a great recruiting class. Are the local area kids or
no, not this year. No,
not this year.
No, mostly far away. Texas, Michigan, Florida, Pennsylvania, and New England.
Wow.
And a couple Maryland too. A couple Maryland kids too.
Wow. Well, Coach, can't thank you enough, ladies and gentlemen. Coach Bill Pilot, thank you for being on the show. It's always a pleasure, and good luck in the off season, and of course next season too. We'll hopefully be here again.
Yes,
so,
sir. Thanks a lot. You guys do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. When we come back, Ron Myers will be interviewing Finn Pinkish. You're watching Tuesday Night Live on the Maroons Webcast Network.
Meet Dan and his dog Bongo. They started their own dog biscuit company, but Dan wanted more, so Dan worked with Fast Signs. They created a plan to attract more customers, get more business, wag more tails. Still, Dan wanted more, and Fast Signs provided more. Fast Signs help with digital displays, mobile marketing, merchandising, fleet graphics, and more. Now Dan has more sales, more locations, more of the good life. And more is exactly what Fast Signs delivers. More than fast, more than signs, more than 530 locations worldwide.
Like a lot of people, I'm trying to take care of myself a little better. Some things work really well. Others, well, I'm trying. But one thing I know for sure, eating better is so much easier with Simple Truth.
You'll find Simple Truth and Simple Truth organic items throughout your Kroger store. The green circle tells you only the good stuff goes in. Plus, Simple Truth is delicious and affordable.
And that means a lot.
Simple Truth. Easy to find, easy to understand. Only at Kroger.
These days, life is busy, but amazing. From the sci-fi brilliance of technology to the existence of toast, we move at a crazy pace until this happens. Time for MedExpress. Walk right in, get the care you need, and get right back at it. MedExpress, because life is urgent.
And welcome back here once again to Tuesday Night Live from Mike and Bob's Restaurant in downtown Salem. My guest tonight is cross country and track and field men's and women's coach Finn Pincus. Coach Pincus is wrapping up his 21st season as head coach here for the Roanoke College Maroons. Coach, you and your assistant coaches, Lisa Dalton, Carl Blickel, and Nick Hoffman, have had a super cross country indoor and outdoor season. Let's start first with the women's team. Once again, outdoor champs for the 10th time. They won 6 events.
Yes, our ladies really came through at the outdoor championships. We were second indoors, and our team is fairly young. But I think at the outdoors, we talked at different times about staying focused, and the outdoor season is a little bit different in terms of the events that you have. You know, we add the steeplechase, we add the 4x1 relay. We have a few field events that we're strong at, and so I think our ladies really come to the championships with a level of ferocity that really gives us an edge, and this is the 8th time in 9 years that we have won the outdoor title. So you know, I give them credit because you can do a lot of talking and you can do a lot of things, but when the track meet starts, it's them on the track, and they've got to be the ones that perform.
Going back to what you said about the 4x1 and the 4x4, in the 4x1, the number one time in the nation was you were just off by 1.84 tenths of a second. When I think of 1.84, I'm thinking maybe a foot to 2, but you made a good analogy. No, in the 4x100, that's almost 10 yards. But still, to be that close, and the 4x400, you were 3 minutes 51.38 seconds. You're right there, 18th, 19th, and 20th in the nation. Yeah. That's impressive. Janie, Kenny, Pompey, Mejia, McDonald, Denton. That's a special group of young women.
Yes, we do. We do. They are very, very focused on being terrific athletes. And, you know, when you're in college, there's a great deal of distractions. And it's easy to find other things to do. Basically, they start the school year and do captain's practices, which means that they are working out on their own. We get together in October, middle of October, and we have about 6 weeks of training. They go home for Christmas, they come back, and then it is every day of the semester, and we are still in training. So, you know, they've got to be ready to step on the track and work out hard 6 days a week. And I think that takes a level of intensity that most college students really don't have. They don't have that level of commitment.
Well, talk about the running events. Look at the field athletes, two in particular, Mary Kelly and Sam Clouser. Super year for them.
Yes, yeah. Our ladies in the throws really came through in the outdoor championships. Of course, Mary is a javelin specialist, and so she starts in the middle of October with everyone else, and she's got to do events indoors that she is not particularly good at, but she enjoys being with the team. She enjoys improving, but she can really launch that javelin. And the throw of 124 feet, that's a long way. And so at the championships, she sealed it up right away. Sam Klauser is a Salem athlete, and Salem, as you know, produces a lot of good folks. Sam got very good with the hammer throw, and no, that's not an event where they throw hammer and nails. The hammer is a 8.5-pound metal ball for the women on the end of a wire that's about 38 inches long, and she can throw this, about 160 feet. And it's a strange event because the athletes spin while they put the hammer in orbit around them. And this is not a college event. I mean, it is a college event. It's not one that they learn in high school. So a person has to be a good student of the event to learn it and to be very good at it. And Sam was our conference champ 3 years in a row. So she graduated. We'll certainly be missing her next year.
As a youngster, I would always go down to the track back in the late 60s, early 70s and run on it. And I always wanted to do the hammer throw. So what I did was I had an old stick, and I put kite string on it and taped it to a baseball. Well, my hammer days lasted about 20 minutes. When I let go of it, it went through the front the front window of the house. So Mama said, "That's not your calling, son." So that was the end of mine. Also, congratulations on being named ODAC Women's Coach of the Year for the 7th time.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
It's very impressive. Tell us about some of the outstanding men's performances outdoors this season.
Well, A.J. Bernstein, who you talked about, winning the Paul Rice Award. A.J. had some very good races for us, and he ran 154 in the 800, which was, I'm losing my microphone. My head's probably too small. There we go. A.J. had some terrific races, and he was third in the conference in the 1500. It was a strange race. He and Harrison Tony were running together and got out-kicked at the end. Harrison had some terrific races. He won 2 races at Liberty, which is a Division I school, and to win the steeplechase there is a terrific honor because, Division III athletes are not expected to win. And he won there last Thursday, and as well as winning at the conference championships on April 19th. One of our guys in the throws, Russell Thomas, he had a very good year. He placed in the indoor weight throw, and then he was 4th outdoors in the hammer throw, and he really came a long way. So that was definitely a very good performance for us. And also Drew Langren. Drew was a senior who, I think he's improved about 8 seconds in the 800. He ended up running 155 for us this year, placed in the conference. And the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th was very, very tight. We have 9 teams in our conference. And the battle was very, very tight, and it was going to come down to the last event. And before it, I said, guys, I'm not going to tell you what the points are, but I'm just going to tell you that it all relies on your shoulders. And Drew was the anchor leg, and he ended up running 49.40-something, and that is with the electronic timing. That was his leg. And to break 50 seconds in the 400, that's fast. And so anyway, the conference 4x4 is broken into 2 sections, and we were in the slower section. And a lot of teams in the slower section don't place. And I think we ended up getting 4th or 5th, and we moved a couple ahead of schools, and it was on his leg was the best. We ran 3:24, fastest time of the year, and we ended up 4th. We were 1 point ahead of 5th, who was 1 point ahead of 6th, who was 1 point ahead of 7th.
Wow.
So it doesn't get any closer than that.
Well, you got coming up, everybody thinks sports is over with at Roanoke College for the season. Well, it's not, because Thursday you have the Maroon Twilight Invitational, Virginia Tech, 5:30. How many teams?
We have about 20 schools that will be represented. There will be a lot of Division I teams coming. There are large numbers of entries in the distance events. Virginia Tech brings their distance crew in, and basically schools right now, if they're competing athletes, it's because these people are close to a qualifying standard to go to the regional in Division I or to go to nationals in Division III. So we're getting a very, very high caliber number of athletes. About 150 athletes will be competing. The first event starts at 3 o'clock. We sort of have an afternoon session, which has sprints and field events. And then at 6:30, we start with the 800 with the distance races that will go until about 8 o'clock.
Great. Thursday, 3 o'clock, stop over there at Roanoke College Track and Field. It's going to be some outstanding events, outstanding athletes there. Congratulations once again. Coach of the Year for women's, fantastic season. Coach Ben Pincus.
All right.
Bob Southern, when we come back, he's going to talk to sophomore men's lacrosse player Joey Dishaw when we return here from Mike and Bob's Tuesday Night Live.
The DQ chicken strip basket. Whole tenderloin, seasoned them 5 times, flavor inside and out. They're like blizzard good. Is that too far?
Not at all, Alan. The chicken strip basket, now only $4.49. This is fan food, not fast food.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
Roanoke College, timeless and true, smart and solid, practical and professional, making discoveries about yesterday, creating visions for tomorrow, lifted by a winning college spirit, forging lifetime friendships with professors who prepare you for a place at the head of an operating table or another bright future. Roanoke College, classic for tomorrow.
Lacrosse is the fastest growing sport in the United States. For the past 25 years, Coach Pilot, head lacrosse coach at traditional lacrosse power Roanoke College, has been providing fun, safe, and informative camps designed for all positions on the lacrosse field. Coach Pilot also offers specialty camps for offensive players and one for defensive players. His Offense Challenge and Defensive Challenge camps are held in Virginia and are geared towards the middle and high school age players to get them ready for their season ahead. Go to www.laxcamps.org right now for more information and to sign up for camp.
Good evening and welcome back to Tuesday Night Live on the Maroon Webcast Network. I'm Bob Southern. My guest tonight is Joey Dishaw, a sophomore midfielder for the Roanoke College men's lacrosse team. Joey, first and foremost, welcome to the show and congratulations on being named second team All-O-Deck.
Thank you, appreciate it.
That's quite an accomplishment for a sophomore.
Yeah, I worked hard in the off seasons and played well toward the end of the year in the ODAC, so kind of felt like I deserved it. I'm proud of myself. So.
Well, I think your mom and dad are proud too. So
I think they
and
are.
Your neighbors too, being your
yeah.
neighbors. So, hey, it was a tough loss last Saturday. Your thoughts on the game?
You got to play all 4 quarters till the end, every minute. And our coach said after the game, a couple misses here and there, ball bounces the other way, and change the game completely. And it definitely did that Saturday.
Well, something to look forward to in the off season. Put some fire in you to get back there next year.
Absolutely. I'm already in the gym, hitting the wall. I can't wait for next year.
That's great to hear. You made the transition from high school to college lacrosse. What was the biggest adjustment you had to make?
The biggest adjustment was definitely the speed. People were bigger, faster. For me, it was kind of easy to get a hold of it, grasp it a little quicker than some people, but it's a lot more fun than high school, that's for sure.
Because you don't get hit as much, I'm sure. So I asked you earlier, are you going to take Chad Fisher under your wing? Because I know he played at Salem also, and his first year was sort of up and down. He had good games, bad games, but
he's, in my opinion, the most athletic player on our team, and he definitely fits with the style that we play and push it fast, and he'll definitely come around next year. I promise that.
Yeah, Ronnie and I had the pleasure to watch him play for the Salem High School football team, and he's only 5'10", $175, and he hits everything that moves.
Absolutely.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Why'd you choose to come to Roanoke?
At first, I honestly didn't want to go to Roanoke. I kind of wanted to get out of my hometown, Salem. So, believe it or not, I was thinking about going to Lynchburg, but...
Whoa, that brought something there from the crowd.
But talked to Coach Pilot, talked to Coach Sampson, at the time Coach Thomas, and they're very convincing. And it's just a great school for what I want to major in, and can't leave Salem.
I hear you. I hear you. If you leave, you come back like I did. So, have you chosen a major yet?
Business.
Business.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Okay. All right. I got to ask you this: who's the one defenseman on Roanoke who you faced every day in practice that made you glad he was your teammate and not your opponent?
I definitely can't pick one. Probably have to pick four, and those were our long stick middies and our short stick teammates: Will Carter, Marquise Terrell, Jeff Doobie, and Michael Littner. Going up against them every day really improved my game.
Well, Marcus Terrell, I'll tell you, did he play football, do you know, in high school?
He did. He was very athletic, and it shows.
Yeah, he was somebody we talked about all the time during the lacrosse games. He didn't back down from anybody. He just looked like he'd hit you if you moved. So, well, my nephews played at lacrosse at Maryland. The one team, I should say, they always wanted to beat was Johns Hopkins. All right, what team do you want to beat more than any other?
I mean, I want to beat them all, but if I had to pick, definitely Lynchburg and W. I can't pick between the two. They're definitely our biggest rivals, and it's hard to pick from those.
It's hard
two.
to pick, yeah.
I don't really like them that much.
And to think you almost went to Lynchburg.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I'm glad I didn't.
I know you come from a very athletic family, beginning with your mom and dad. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who's the better athlete, your mom or your dad?
That's very hard to choose.
Oh, you got to make a choice. I'm not letting you get out of here without making a choice. I mean, you're going to make somebody happy, and somebody's not going to talk to you for a week.
Well, I definitely got my swimming genes from my mom, and I definitely got my lacrosse genes from my dad. If I had to pick one, just because she would talk to me the most trash about it, I would say my mom.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, and she's happy. You hear in the audience?
That's why.
Okay. Listen, I got one final question for you, buddy. Your dad played 4 years of lacrosse at Roanoke College. Do you know how many goals and assists he had in those 4 years?
I look it up a lot because I actually want to beat his stats, and I think it's around 22 goals and 20-something assists.
28 assists. You're right there. And did you know that through 2 years you now have 22 goals? You only have to score one more, and then your father's toast.
Hopefully it'll be pretty easy for next year.
Joey Dishaw, ladies and gentlemen, only a sophomore and getting better and better. Joey, again, thank you for your time. When we come back, Ron Myers will be interviewing Harrison Toney. You're watching Tuesday Night Live on the Maroon Webcast Network.
When you find out about the DQ $5 lunch, all this food for only $5, you gotta tell people about it. Boom, I just dropped a $5 lunchogram on all my friends.
The $5 lunch, entree, fries, drink, plus a sundae. This is fan food, not fast food.
Mac and Bob's opened for business in 1980. Over the years, we've grown from 10 stools to a full-service restaurant that seats 330 people. Now we invite you to come try our new breakfast menu, featuring sweet potato pancakes, eggs Benedict, omelets made to order, stuffed French toast, homemade sausage and gravy biscuits, and much more. Open for breakfast Monday through Saturday at 8 a.m., Sunday brunch 10 a.m. till 2. See you for breakfast at Mac and Bob's in Salem.
Constant flash flooding, which can ravage communities with up to 30 inches of driving rain in minutes.
Hey, honey, yeah. I'm on my way.
Water or smoke damage can often take you by surprise.
I gotta call you back.
But our experts restore your peace of mind with our quick response, clear communications, and thoughtful care for your home.
Next on our countdown, wildfire.
When your home has damage, big or small, call ServiceMaster Clean. ServiceMaster Clean. Peace of mind restored.
And we're glad you're back with us here on Tuesday Night Live from Mac and Bob's Restaurant on Main Street in Salem, just across the road here from the campus of Roanoke College. Our next guest is men's track and field standout Harrison Toney. Harrison is finishing up his sophomore track season. Harrison, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
You're a local product for Patrick Henry High School. That's a large AAA school here in Roanoke. Harrison, what was, as a freshman, when you came in, the biggest difference you noticed going from high school competition to college competition?
Well, the biggest difference was probably the experience of a lot of the collegiate athletes. Even on the D3 level, there was a very big difference from going to typically competing in a state setting to a across-nation setting. So with that, it's much more competitive, and I really enjoyed that competitive spirit of it.
Was it tough learning how to figure out how to balance your school time along with training time and competition?
Definitely. It was difficult at first, but as soon as second semester of my freshman year rolled around, it was kind of easy to start balancing all that.
Well, your best event is the 3,000-meter steeplechase. You set a new maroon record this spring with 9 minutes and 19 seconds, and you are ranked in the top 35 in the nation. Now, I know about track and field. I ran track in school, but a lot of people, they don't know what the steeplechase is. I know it's a combination of hurdles, water, quicksand, alligators. There's a whole bunch of stuff you have to go around. Explain to us, like for example, how high are the hurdles? How many is it, and what is it about the steeplechase?
Well, the hurdles are 36 inches, so about waist height, and there's 5 hurdles a lap, with one being the water barrier, in which it's sloped, and you have to kind of drudge through that, and it's 3,000 meters, so just 200 meters short of 2 miles, and it's a race that is certainly difficult. It takes a lot more coordination than many of the other races, and it takes a good combination of a lot more endurance and speed than your typical events.
Now, when you started back in February, you guys were running, when you were participating in the steeplechase, now one of those hurdles, you go into a pit of water, unless you go completely over it. Now, I know it's cold out there, because some of those days we had 29 and 30 degrees. How do you keep your feet warm if you're going into the water and continue to run?
Well, it's strange. I mean, we've been fortunate this outdoor season to have pretty good weather, and it's definitely a concern come race time when it gets a little chilly in that water. So.
Now, 8:52 is the top mark in Division III in the 3,000-meter steeplechase this year. You're only 27 seconds off. Where do you feel you need to gain more speed, and what do you need to do to improve to get to that level of competition?
Well, the main focus this year has been more with my hurdling. The running part, it's taken care of itself with my mileage increase that I did this past summer, and really the main focus is trying to accelerate into the hurdles, keep the speed going, so I don't slow down or lose time in that regard.
Who makes you a better runner in practice?
Geez, I'm gonna have to say Coach Pincus does. He definitely pushes me on and off the track, and I know that when I'm running in practice, for example, I feel like I really don't want to disappoint, and it definitely helps having that he was a steeplechase man himself at University of Virginia, and ran 9:05 in the steeplechase while he was in college, and I'm really trying to push to maybe break that mark and get to that level.
Well, a lot of people don't realize. He ran a 2:28 marathon.
Yeah, at the Marine Corps Marathon. Yeah.
Yes, he did, and I think it was only 20 minutes off of what the Boston Marathon was this year.
Yeah, I mean, he was definite distance animal.
What does it mean when a runner says at the end of the season, "Boy, I just had tired legs"?
Oh gosh. At the end of the season, I mean, it's a very long season. Unlike high school, we compete. Usually high school you have cross country, indoor track, and outdoor track, and it's usually broken down into those 3 seasons. Well, in college, the indoor track and outdoor track, it's almost combined, so you don't really get a break in between. So by the time it comes around to the end of the season, you really do feel like your legs are kind of giving out on you, and I've been experiencing that myself the past couple of days unfortunately. So just trying to make sure that I take care of them by stretching and doing everything that I can do.
I know running in school, indoor, outdoor, I always considered indoor harder. It was always like you were breathing hot air in a furnace, especially at the old VMI field house. We would run there, and you would go underneath the bleachers. But yeah, between the dust and the heat of the air. So do you consider indoor the hardest?
Oh, definitely, by far. I mean, it's a shorter track, so you have the factor of turnover, and fortunately I have a pretty short stride, so I don't really experience that. But the air quality is definitely different, and you can feel the burn after you finish a race for sure.
Why did you choose Roanoke College?
Well, there were many reasons why I chose Roanoke College. Part academics and part I just really thought that as soon as I came here that I'd be able to have both academic and athletic success, and it hasn't disappointed yet. So,
what's your major?
I am majoring in exercise science with maybe the hopes to go into coaching later on. So we'll see.
Fantastic. Well, you're going to be participating, I guess, Thursday in the Twilight Invitational.
That's correct.
Good luck to you. We're going to come out there and watch it. Have a great summer. Enjoy your road workouts. Relax a little bit. And we look forward to seeing you back here in September.
All right. Thank you.
Harrison Toney, track and field standout. When we return, it's the Maroon Warrior himself. If you ain't cut, if you ain't bleeding, and you're not limping, you're not a warrior. Dave Sampson's in the house on the network.
Meet Dan and his dog Bongo. They started their own dog biscuit company, but Dan wanted more. So Dan worked with Fast Signs. They created a plan to attract more customers, get more business, wag more tails. Still, Dan wanted more, and Fast Signs provided more. Fast Signs help with digital displays, mobile marketing, merchandising, fleet graphics, and more. Now Dan has more sales, more locations, more of the good life. And more is exactly what Fast Signs delivers. More than fast, more than signs, more than 530 locations worldwide.
Like a lot of people, I'm trying to take care of myself a little better. Some things work really well. Others, well, I'm trying. But one thing I know for sure, eating better is so much easier with Simple Truth.
You'll find Simple Truth and Simple Truth organic items throughout your Kroger store. The green circle tells you only the good stuff goes in. Plus, Simple Truth is delicious and affordable.
And that means a lot.
Simple Truth. Easy to find, easy to understand. Only at Kroger.
These days, life is busy, but amazing. From the sci-fi brilliance of technology to the existence of toast, we move at a crazy pace until this happens. Time for MedExpress. Walk right in, get the care you need, and get right back at it. MedExpress, because life is urgent.
Good evening and welcome back to Tuesday Night Live on the Maroon Webcast Network. Our final guest tonight to end the year is strength and conditioning coach Dave Sampson. Coach, always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me back this one last time for the spring season.
Absolutely, one last time. So without further ado, I'm just going to turn it over to you because I know you have some folks you want to talk about.
I tell you what, we'll share some notes here. I did my homework. I got my email from Richmond this morning, and I did my homework on who we want to talk about. We got a couple of what I call our crossover sports, the men's basketball and the women's basketball team. I know we started out with them in the fall, in the winter, but they also went into the end of February.
Okay.
So we're going to include them because we did talk about them after the first of the year.
Correct.
Probably 3 or 4 shows. So I'll start out with men's basketball. I got 3 nominees or 3 guys there that are in consideration for the highly coveted Ultimate Maroon Warrior.
Now, before we begin, are you going to have a male and female?
Absolutely.
Just,
yeah.
Okay.
I can't. We got to.
Okay. I just wanted to make certain of that.
No, I that would be my. This job's going to be tough enough as it is. So that'll take at least a little bit of the burden off my shoulders. So on the men's basketball side of the house, one of our young men's in attendance tonight, Julian Ramirez. He did a phenomenal job as he ran some point guard. He played some two guard. He did a good job of pretty much driving that ship this year, you know, from an offensive standpoint, from a defensive standpoint. He really picked his game up from the last season, and he really brings it every day in practice and each and every game.
And he's only a junior.
And he's only a junior, so we're getting him back. And that said, one of his partners in crime, Daniel Eco, also has gotten noticeably better each and every season, and he's one of my favorite kids on the team. He truly does the blue-collar, dirty work that, you know, not a lot of kids like to do. And, you know, I think he got his just desserts this year by getting a first-team All-ODAC nod. I was really proud of him for doing that.
Yeah, first-team All-ODAC, and he almost averaged a double-double.
Yeah, he did a heck of a job, and he's got to be one of the front runners for maybe even ODAC Player of the Year next year. I don't know. So he's certainly setting the ducks on the pond to really make a run at that. And certainly last but not least, our ever popular point guard from James River High School, Ethan Humphreys. Ethan had kind of a special role for the Maroons this year. He came in and gave them a truly good spark from a defensive standpoint. He did a much better job handling the ball when Julian was running the two guard. Ethan would come in and run the one guard, and I was really pleased with his outlook on the whole season. And if you watch that kid, he's, you know, preseason, off-season, and in-season, he's in the weight room. He really does. He epitomizes what a Maroon Warrior is in my mind.
Okay.
So those are my three guys from the men's basketball team. To kind of change gears, we're going to go with our last but certainly not least winter sport, the women's basketball team. One girl that's on there, you know, I'm sure it's no surprise to anybody, Paxton Gwen.
Yeah, ODAC Player of the Year.
ODAC Player of the Year, much deserved.
Absolutely.
And I think she was had a couple other accolades, the first team All-State, first team SID All-State, and I think first team All-Region.
Correct. That's correct.
So I don't know where those accolades are stop. I thought she was going to make some impact in the All-American category. She had that type of season. I know her next thing on her horizon is, I talked to her mom and her dad at the Senior Athlete Awards Assembly, and she's headed to Brazil to do a little pro basketball playing down there.
Wow.
And in hopes, she's going to try to make a transition over to Europe maybe next fall.
Wow.
So
That's
Paxton's up there. My others, Laurel Hankins, one of her classmates, Tatum McKee, another classmate, and a two-sport athlete here, Anna Carter. All three of these girls are what I like to refer to, they play with reckless abandon on the court, especially Tatum. You know, I know that you guys watched a ton of their basketball games this year. Tatum, if we could ever, you know, reel her in just a wee bit and teach her to move laterally rather than just straight up and down the court, she'll be a handful. Anna Carter, she's the kind of girl, I like to think of her as kind of like your six-man type of player, where when the girls needed a spark, she would come off the bench and really do it, whether it was playing D, whether it was getting some points, getting some rebounds, or making some key steals. Carter did a phenomenal job. So, you know, all four of those girls are Warrior winners over the past year.
Okay.
So that's obviously why they're up there. Next up, our baseball team, Coach McGuire. I can't say enough about these guys. They truly went through, I'm going to think about 6 weeks of misery with me in the off season, the time between their fall ball and their preseason in January. You know, I worked them out pretty hard twice a week. And those guys, you know, if it weren't for the injury bug and a couple other unspoken problems they had on the team, I think they'd have been in the ODAC tournament.
Could have been, yeah. They finished 16-18 on the year.
So I know that season is kind of a big letdown for them, but I'm really proud of them because he is, you know, Coach McGuire's doing a heck of a job. Him and Coach Wood are out there recruiting, and they're bringing in the kind of players that the college needs to really make an impact in the baseball team. And I look for big things, from Coach McGuire and Coach Wood. They're going after the ball players who are doing it on the field and taking care of business in the classroom well. So my nominees there, and you and I talked about this young man, Will Black. I watched him play against Guilford this year, and he hit a ball so hard I thought it damn near killed one of the Guilford College's second baseman. it hit him right in the ribs, and it sounded like Rocky Balboa punching a slab of meat. So he was an award winner, so that's why he's back there. My other 3 guys, Will Decker did a phenomenal job at the plate. Cam Holhauser was second-team All-ODAC pitcher this year.
Correct.
And was in, I think, the top probably 4 or 5 in numerous, 3 or 4 different categories for pitchers.
Right.
So he did a great job. And Jake Clifton, you can't say enough about him. The guy was an absolute beast at the plate this year. As far as slugging percentages, batting averages, and just overall clutch hits. Clifton really did a heck of a job, and I'm really proud of him. So those 4 guys are my nominees for the baseball team.
And Clifton, I think, was an oversight on the part of the ODAC. He didn't make first, second, or third team.
How does he not get the ODAC?
I know.
All ODAC.
Yep.
I agree.
I agree.
I would have put him there. I would think that'd be a no-brainer.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
If you look at his stats, he had a hell of a year.
He did.
So how Clifton doesn't make it, I don't know. But that's life, and maybe we'll add some tackling fuel to him. Next up, my softball girls, some girls that are near and dear to my heart. I have 3 good nominees here. I'm sure they're going to be no surprise. They are truly the heart and soul of the team. Steph Clark has been a 4-year stud for the girls. She does it at the plate, she does it in the circle, and she does it at shortstop.
Yes, she does.
I can't say enough about her. She is like a true soldier out on the field. And probably just as effective, Kelly Higbee, who most people remember from their phenomenal run a couple years ago to the, I guess, the final number 4 ranking in the country to the World Series here. Higbee, they call him the Dirty Dozen. She was the only daggone pitcher they had that year.
Yes.
Clark didn't. She pitched a little bit, but not a whole lot because she was struggling through forearm and shoulder problems. So she didn't do a whole lot. That whole season was pretty much on Higbee's shoulders. And to make matters worse, she broke her finger in the fall this year and had to have surgery. And I didn't know if she was going to play this year because she showed me the finger after she got the pins out. And I'll be honest with you, that's one of the nasty things I've ever seen. It was disgusting. I didn't know how in the world she was ever going to get in the circle and throw the ball. But, that's just the kind of girl she is. She hopped in there, and she had another great year. And finally, Alexis Roop, kind of the anchor of their defense, the catcher. Alexis just, you got to nominate a catcher because they're always the dirtiest person on the field.
Involved in each and every play.
She is involved in each and every play. She got mowed down a couple times this year. I saw her, and she's a meat. She's not afraid to. I say she got mowed down. She didn't get it mowed down. The runner coming into home plate. Every time that I saw it happen, the runner got the worst of it. Alexis just put her down. So those are my 3 nominees for the softball team.
Okay.
I'm going to use my notebook because I took some notes. I told the guys that I actually had to do a little studying today. Next up, there'll probably be a spontaneous bit of eruption here. The women's track team. I want to talk about some of my favorite girls that have ever run track here. The 4x400 team, McDougal, Janie, Mejia, and Kenny. I like them, and I told Coach Blickel and Coach Pincus both. These girls, especially Mejia and Janie, every time they come in the weight room, they always poke their head in my office and say hi and wave, and they give me a little bit of crap, a little bit of grief once in a while. Mejia shamed me into coming out and watching the ODAC track meet between her and Mejia or Kenny. I just they made me fans of their their little team, and those girls are. They got a shot.
Sure they do.
To kind of put things into perspective, I talked to Coach Blickel earlier today. When Robin Yerkes was here, their 4x100 team was running like 3:59. These girls are probably going to they have a legitimate shot of getting under 3:50. So to put that in perspective, that's quite a bit ahead of that. These, Robin Yerkes was a hell of a runner. These girls right here, these 4, all of them, phenomenal runners. So, they've gotten better. Coaches told me they've gotten better each and every week, and I expect big things from them. And also, I'm going to bring Esther into the picture, another one of my favorite young ladies walking around campus. She, Mahia, Janie, and Kenny are members of the 4x100 team who are also getting better each week, and they too, have a legitimate shot of hitting the NCAAs. All these girls are former winners of the Warrior of the Week, so that's why we got them on there.
Okay.
So on the men's side, he was on here earlier tonight, and he's going to be working for me in the fitness center weight room this summer. Harrison Tony does a hell of a job in the 3,000-meter steeplechase. And, last but certainly not least, on the men's side of the house is A.J. Bernstein, the 800-meter runner, who certainly needs, we don't need to read his list of accolades. Those guys have done a heck of a job for the men's team this year, and they are certainly the heart and soul of that team.
Absolutely, I agree wholeheartedly.
So next up, we're going to talk about our men's tennis team. I believe this year, Coach only had 4 guys on the team.
Wow.
So, he's kind of going through a little rebuilding year. He lost a lot last year to graduation, and it's his first year on board. And, so he's dealing with his guys. So Chris Migler-Reese, Will Grothy, Joe Ross, and Nolan Webb are his team this year. And, they didn't finish first, but they didn't finish last.
Yeah, they finished 8-7.
Yeah,
so.
They competed each and every match, and so I put his whole team up there, so I was really proud of them.
Okay.
And likewise with Coach Ragsdale on the women's side of the house, I'm going to talk about a couple girls on there who have been with him for the past 4 years, but you got to put their whole team up because these girls have done something no other team's done at Roanoke. They really pushed the envelope. They're ranked in the nation this year. Unfortunately, fortunately, we had the number 2 seed in the ODAC tournament, but that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
You got to consider the number 1 seed, Washington and Lee University. They're a top 5 program in the country.
Right.
So to be able to compete with them, although they took us, I think, 6 games to nothing, we were taking games off of them. So we were scoring points against them, and I think we're headed in the right direction.
And
there.
they also finished the year 16-3. That's the most wins in a year for the women's tennis team.
Most wins in program history. So that's why I nominated the whole team. And the girls I want to single out, Lauren Marnzall and Jen, I always say her name wrong, Antosik,
I think.
Antosik from Charlotte, and Lauren is from Connecticut. They have kind of fought me tooth and nail in the weight room over the past 3 or 4 years. But they finally came around, and they kind of put down their guard, and they kind of embraced it, much through the help of Coach Ragsdale. He had these girls in the off season, in the fall. They're in the weight room at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then has them out on the court practicing. So that's why I put their whole daggone team up there.
And Antashik, she made all ODAC second team in singles. So.
Which is quite an accomplishment.
Absolutely.
So he is, both the men's and women's teams are certainly headed in the right direction, and I'm really, really proud of both of them.
Okay.
So next up, our women's lacrosse team, Coach Swartz and Coach Hurley there. I got a whole host of nominees here.
You do there.
Claire Feeney, a transfer from Division I Wingate, came in, a little lefty midfielder, did a great job for the girls this year. Scored a ton of goals for us, had a bunch of assists. She's not a bad defender as well, and has a brother that plays for Coach Pilot's men's team.
Yes.
Next up, our goalie, who I got to say had a better year than I could ever imagine she would. Lauren Curtin, I think she had a good year last year, but I think she had pretty close to a great year this year. She made saves this year that she didn't make last year. She kept them in a lot of games, and she won a lot of games for them. And I can tell you that their quarterfinal loss to Randolph-Macon, if Curtin had been in there, it'd have been a lot worse. The poor girls would have been in that game. And Lauren just did a heck of a job all year long. Her backup, Allison Shannon, a local product from Salem High School, is I tell you, if Lauren Curtin wasn't there, Allison would be in there.
Yeah, she would be the starter.
And she does a great job. It's got to be tough to be a goalie at the collegiate level, because you know that if you're second or third string, you're probably never, ever, ever going to play. You're just not. You may ride the bench for 4 years. But Allison, I was out at their practices every day, and Allison never has a sour look on her face, never has an ill word to say about anyone, does a great job in the classroom. And when she gets into games, she makes the most of her opportunities, and she does a heck of a job too.
Okay.
So that's why Allison's there. And I'll try to speed it up here. Allie Bonanno, who is just a phenomenal athlete. Shattered some of Gina Vale's records, who is arguably one of the best women's lacrosse players ever to play at Roanoke. Dara Everts, who will break some of Gina's and some of Allie's records next year.
Yes, she will.
She was a junior this year. She'll be back one more year, much to the dismay of most of the ODAC community. Freshman Julia Galanto did a great job at midi and defender this year. She is probably the most fit and fastest girl on their team. And I watched her from her first practice in January to her final practice in April. She was a different person. She was no longer a freshman. You could see that, the intensity, the look was on her face. You could see it in her eyes. And she did an absolutely phenomenal job for Coach Schwartz and Coach Hurley. And finally, kind of an unsung hero of the girls' team, Carly Sturgis. For those of you who don't know her, it's a girl that wears the crash test dummy helmet out in practices and in the games. Carly, I think the team lovingly refers to her as Carl, so I just call her Carl. She does a heck of a job each and every day in practice. She doesn't get a lot of game time. When she does, I'll give her credit. She makes the most of it. But she is one of the girls that makes the rest of them better each and every day in practice because she goes that hard.
Yeah.
So that's why Carl's in there.
Okay, and you got Claire Feeney and Dara Everett, who are all ODAC first team. Allison Bonanno was second team, and Alexa Germany was third. So that covers the women's lacrosse.
That does. And how some of those, the Allie got second team is,
again,
beyond me. So
it's the same thing with Clifton.
Yeah, it must be some I guess some bleed over hatred from the men's lacrosse side of the house. Last, certainly but not least, our men's team. We had Joey Dishaw and Coach Billy Pilot up here earlier today. I'm going to kind of go in reverse order here. A ridiculously talented and angry defensive midfielder, Will Carter. And, he's a Maryland product. Will, I thought that he kind of got the short end of the stick this year with respect to the all ODAC team on the men's side of the house. I thought he and Marquise Terrell were easily the two best D-middies in the conference.
I would agree with Marcus Terrell. I enjoyed watching him play.
They're just they're two angry kids, and they do a hell of a job of doing the dirty work. Yep. They may get one or two goals every year, so you're never going to read about them in the headlines. You're not going to see about them in the stat columns. But all those kids do was stop kids. They stop the offensive players, week in and week out. So that's why Will's up there. One of my face-off middies, Max Kraus. He's kind of an unsung hero and kind of maybe even a Cinderella story. Max was probably our third face-off midi last year behind Clark Lewis and John Rayburn, and he went from, I guess you call it, from worst to first. Max, although the outcome was not what we would have wanted it to be against Hampton-Sydney last Saturday, Max won 19 out of 23 face-offs, so he was over 80% on the day.
Absolutely.
So that is, to have a kid step up and do that's a hell of a job. So, and it's not the first time he did it.
Right.
Max had a great year, and I give him credit. He got Coach Pilot's ground ball award. He had the most ground balls on the team. He was first. Close second to him was freshman Chad Fisher. I think I did the final tally was Fisher had 59 and Kraus had 64.
Wow.
So considering that Fisher only started taking faceoffs in the second half of the season, that's a hell of a job too.
It is.
And Fisher embraced his role as face-off midi and defensive midfielder in the latter part of the year for us. And, the kid, I heard you guys talking earlier with Joey D. He's easily the best athlete on the team. He's a hell of an athlete. And I'll give Fisher credit, although he got penalties on all three of these, he had three of the most violent hits I've ever seen.
I agree.
In lacrosse. I mean, I don't know how the kids on the other team survived him. So, I got a special place in my heart for Fish, so that's why he's here. Clark Lewis is there because he has battled through so many daggone injuries and really sucked it up the last 2 games of the year, played with a partially dislocated shoulder, phenomenal amount of pain, and just kind of ground his way through it and did a good job. And I thought he had a nice game against Hampton-Sydney. And Clark's just a heck of a guy, one of our Texas kids, and we're going to be sorry to see him go, and I'm going to miss him a lot. But Clark is pretty much on the men's team the epitome of a warrior. He does a heck of a job, in practice and during the games. And last but certainly not least, Charlie Pease, the returning All-American goalie. Like Coach Pilot said, hopefully if the lacrosse gods look down on him, he should certainly be, maybe a second and possibly even a first-team All-American goalie.
I would agree with
year.
that. He stopped 60% of the shots he faced this year. He led the ODAC in that category, and just like Lauren Curtin on the women's side, he kept them many games when their offense wasn't clicking.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've learned from Coach, he's probably one of the best coaches in the country, Division I, II, and III, and certainly the best goalie coach around. He has told me that if your goalie is, if he's in the mid to upper 50% save range, you're having a great year.
Yes, you are.
And for Charlie to do what he did, that's pretty damn impressive.
Very impressive.
So those are all of the Maroon Ultimate Warrior nominees. And now the tough part.
Now the drum roll.
Let's start. I love the graphic, Richmond. That's I don't even know what to say about it. It's good and sort of disturbing on a couple different levels, but we'll go with that. I think we need to build on that for next year. So on the women's side, it's a daggone tough choice, and I labored about it all day long. I read a bunch of stats and read articles from all these girls' entire seasons. And I had a couple people ask me, they're like, I know it's going to be Paxton. I know it's going to be Paxton, because she's won this award, just a Maroon Warrior award. She's won it for the past 4 years. So certainly she is the odds-on favorite. Not to take anything away from the women's tennis team, who certainly overachieved in the eyes of a lot of different people this year by achieving the most wins in program history and finishing second in the ODAC to WNL, just great. And then, you got to consider the softball girls we talked about, certainly Steph Clark and Kelly Higbee and Alexis Roop, 3 phenomenal players, not to mention, and, the list is long and distinguished with the women's lacrosse team. But I got to tell you, the more I read about them and the more I watch them and the more they epitomize what the whole Warrior thing is all about, I'm going to give it to the 4x4 100 team, with McDougal, Janie, Mejia, and Kenny. I think they got a legitimate shot of being national champs.
I agree, and of course there are no losers in that group anyway.
No, they've done a heck of a job, and I'm really proud to know them, and I'm proud of them. And I will be out. I've talked to them all today, and I talked to Carl and Coach Pincus. I'm looking forward to going out to the Roanoke, Virginia Tech Twilight Meet this Thursday. I think their events are probably going to start around 5:30, maybe the prelims, so I'm going to go out and watch them. And, it's hard to believe that they can get any better, but I think they will.
They will.
I think they will. So congratulations to you 4 girls. I'm excited to watch you on Thursday and then again as you progress forward. Now the toughest one, the men's team, because we don't have any we don't really have, well, not that we did on the women's side. They're all great accomplishment. With Daniel Eco and Julian and Ethan, they've done a heck of a job. And the men's team, we can go down a huge long list of their accolades. Harrison Toney, A.J. Bernstein, the men's tennis team, those, I guess we could come up with the name, the 4 Horsemen.
Sure.
To do the things that they did. That's phenomenal. The baseball team, Coach McGuire's boys, Jake Clifton getting snubbed from the All-ODAC, Will Black damn near killing a Guilford second baseman. So, but I'm going to give it to a kid that's near and dear to my heart, who has not only worked his ass off in fall ball and in preseason and during the season and in the summer, but he has really fought his way through a lot of adversity on many different levels. So I'm going to give it to Chuck Pease.
Okay. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Coach Sampson, always a pleasure to talk to you. I think it's a great list, and I think you really did a good job with your homework, I'll tell you that. So when we come back, Ron Myers will be wrapping things up along with myself. You're watching Tuesday Night Live on the Maroon Webcast Network.
Mac and Bob's opened for business in 1980. Over the years, we've grown from 10 stools to a full-service restaurant that seats 330 people. Now we invite you to come try our new breakfast menu, featuring sweet potato pancakes, eggs Benedict, omelets made to order, stuffed French toast, homemade sausage and gravy biscuits, and much more. Open for breakfast Monday through Saturday at 8 a.m., Sunday brunch 10 a.m. till 2. See you for breakfast at Mac and Bob's in Salem.
Meet Dan and his dog Bongo. They started their own dog biscuit company, but Dan wanted more. So Dan worked with Fast Signs. They created a plan to attract more customers, get more business, wag more tails. Still, Dan wanted more, and Fast Signs provided more. Fast Signs help with digital displays, mobile marketing, merchandising, fleet graphics, and more. Now Dan has more sales, more locations, more of the good life. And more is exactly what Fast Signs delivers. More than fast, more than signs, more than 530 locations worldwide.
Roanoke College. Timeless and true. Smart and solid. Practical and professional. Making discoveries about yesterday. Creating visions for tomorrow. Lifted by a winning college spirit. Forging lifetime friendships with professors who prepare you for a place at the head of an operating table or another bright future. Roanoke College. Classic for tomorrow.
And welcome back here once again to the 2012-13 final Tuesday Night Live broadcast here at Mac and Bob. Bob, it was an exciting and learning year for us. Field hockey, volleyball. Also, Dave Ross and I traveled on the road to bring you men's basketball on our WGM and 1240 ESPN dial. Bob, I've grown to really appreciate Division III men's and women's sports as a fan and as a broadcaster. As an athlete, it's for the love of the game. No full rides. The ball hurts just as much being hit in baseball, whether you be a D3 player or D1 player. A loss still stings just as bad in D1 and D3. And a pizza on that 3-hour bus ride home sure as heck tastes good when you win.
Yeah, and if you got Dave Ross on the bus, he just drops his subs all over the place. So we'll have to talk to him about getting better hands next year.
Bobby, for us, it's a labor of love.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's a good time, and I, along with you, love watching Division III lacrosse because, as you said, the kids play for the love of the game. There's no money involved, no scholarships, and they play just as hard as Division I. And the team that lost Saturday, the Roanoke College men's lacrosse team, is hurting as much as to lose a Division I national championship game in 3 weeks.
Well, I want to thank the entire Broadcast Network team from Richmond Bramlett, Brad Moore, Scotty Allison, Trevor Chicken Wing Stevens, Kelly Higbee, Jacob Clifton. Great job to everybody that's helped us. Also, fantastic job here to Mac and Bob. Super restaurant here. Joe and Bob do great things for the community. And Bob, I want to thank you for your hard work and dedication. You're retired, and this has become a job for you.
Yeah, I don't think I'm retired anymore, so but it beats selling ketchup.
Well, until mid-August when soccer and volleyball fires back up. Bobby, I'm Ron Myers, and I've enjoyed it. I hope you have too.
I have, Ronnie, and thank all of you folks out there again.
See you in August. Good night, people.
Mac and Bob's opened for business in 1980. Over the years, we've grown from 10 stools to a full-service restaurant that seats 330 people. Now we invite you to come try our new breakfast menu, featuring sweet potato pancakes, eggs Benedict, omelets made to order, stuffed French toast, homemade sausage and gravy biscuits, and much more. Open for breakfast Monday through Saturday at 8 a.m., Sunday brunch 10 a.m. till 2. See you for breakfast at Mac and Bob's in Salem.